Hey guys, what's up? Ricky here with Sage. We're going to be teaching the Americana right now. So the Americana is a very high percentage. I notice a lot of people when they start their jiu-jitsu career, Americana is something they like to go to for a lot. And then as you get better, it kind of becomes a little harder to get. But Americana is a very powerful submission, and then sometimes while you're going for the submission, it opens up a lot of avenues for you too. So let's kind of talk about that now. So if my partner's on her back, so if we can turn it this way and go a little bit more this way. So from here, something that I notice a lot when people go for Americana is that they kind of use a lot of muscle. Some people here are really strong. They have their elbows inside and they just don't want you to be able to manipulate the arm. So if I go ahead and I start putting a lot of pressure with muscle and I glue myself to the floor so I can be strong, if she were to bump, she can force me to move my base. So what happens is that I'm trying to get this, but no matter what, I'm always catching my balance, so it becomes hard to kind of actually execute the submission. So what I like to do here is I like to put my weight to the left. So if you notice, I kind of even lift my knee off the ground a little so I can lean, making sure for sure that I'm closing all this space. But what I do from here is I create a frame on the arm that I want to do the Americana on. So instead of bending my arm and pushing it, I'm gonna already straighten my arm so that when I go ahead and I put my arm to the ground, I'm just leaning on her hand. So that way I can always stay connected to her. So even as I'm going this way, if she were to push and try to bump me off, I'm putting the weight on her hand, which makes it easy for me to actually open the possibility for me to go for it. So from here, I like to reach across and trap her wrist. And then I'm using my elbow kind of to block her head over here, because there's a lot of common ways that people defend the Americana. Sometimes she can reach over her head or even through my arm to reach for her hand, and then she starts to open the doors behind her so I can start climbing for higher mounts and stuff like that. But if we're looking for the Americana, what we have to make sure we do is we have to grab the top of our wrist. I know a lot of people go through here. If the option's available, I'll go for it as well. But sometimes they make it real hard for you to get under there. So I like to go under the wrist so that I can go ahead and make these grips. Now when I make these grips, I want to make sure they're tight, kind of like mountaintops with the wrist instead of the valleys, you know, so I make sure that my wrists are strong when I have that Americana, because it tightens up her shoulder. And then from here, I like to drag her wrist down towards her hip, keeping her wrist on the floor, and then I'm going to start picking up the elbow so that I can create the pressure that will make her want to tap. Sometimes I have to drop my other side a little bit, so I straighten my back leg and kind of drop my hip, so I have more of an angle here to kind of just paint the ground there and then lift it so that I can go for the submission, right? Eventually they start getting really good at defending it, but in order for her to defend her arm that's all the way over here, she needs to use her other hand, which opens a lot of doors to climb up, and we can talk about that more later, right? So for now, the Americana, one of the more important things about this is the way that we actually manipulate the arm to be able to bring it down to the floor. So not pushing, because here if she bumps again, you're always catching her balance. So putting your weight on the arm, extending the arm, and then going for the submission. Cool?